welcome back to Decisive Squirrel Homestead. It is May 8th, maybe? I never know the date. Things have really heated up around here. We have our first heat advisory today. We're going to be in the mid-90s. The humidity's really high, but there are a lot of garden tasks that need to be done. I thought we would do a really quick garden update before I get started on those. So let's check out how things are growing. All right, so you can see that the grass and the weeds are out of control. We need to do some mowing today, some weed eating out in these open areas. That is on the agenda for sure. Chickens are happy. We had a really big rain event this week, just a few days ago actually, so the ground is still a little soupy and muddy. Chickens, it looks like they're gonna move today, maybe tomorrow. They are doing well. The garden is growing by leaps and bounds. Out here on the end of this corner, you can see my blue Hubbard squash vine. That is one plant that has just taken over. It was looking really sad for a long time. It didn't really seem to want to grow, and then it just took off, and now it feels like it's growing like 2 feet a day. It's just gone nuts. But that's good because that's a trap crop for squash vine borers. So hopefully that keeps bugs off of my yellow squash and zucchini plants. Up here in the front in the strawberry bed, we are getting a good handful of strawberries every day, and we have just been, sometimes we eat them, sometimes we wash them and put them in the freezer. We are accumulating quite a few in the freezer so that we can make jam later on. And we just planted some okra in the strawberry bed last night actually. It had gotten really leggy. That's those really tall plants right here. So that's okra. Got really leggy. It was in seedling pots for too long. I was just trying to decide where to put it. We weren't actually going to grow okra this year, but we got that free seed and there was okra in that. So I started the seed and didn't really have a plan for it, so I had to figure out where it was going to go. Our second bed here with the carrots and the purple whole peas is doing really well. Probably the rest of these carrots are going to come out today. And then wherever there's space, we'll plant more purple whole peas. But the purple whole pea plants that are here are doing well. I haven't seen blooms yet. I don't think we have any going yet. There's a watermelon down there. I didn't plant watermelon. This is something that happens sometimes with gardening. This is a watermelon plant. Must be from a watermelon that fell last year. We're gonna let that grow and see what nature gives us. The rest of this plant is carrots and purple whole peas. This third bed down here, our peppers have gone crazy. They're all blooming. We have little baby peppers starting. Onions are going to be coming out of the ground pretty soon. Some of the tops are starting to fall over, which means they're done. I'm waiting for it to dry out a little bit. The ground's really too wet to pull them right now. It's better to pull them when it's a little drier. I planted cucumbers and they had also been in pots too long, so they are dealing with some transplant stress right now. Not all of them are really happy, but they're starting to recover and take off some. So we'll be getting cucumbers soon. Tomatoes have gone crazy. That's over on this other side of this arch. We did get our first couple of tomatoes yesterday. I need to come in here today and prune these, tie them up where they need to be tied up. I see a few little leaves with blight on them. Those need to be cut out and thrown away. But all of these tomato plants are producing well. We will be getting tomatoes really soon. There's our cat. That's not our cat hunting back there. We have another feral cat that had kittens a few weeks ago. The neighbor took her in, so her and her kittens are next door, hoping to make sure she gets spayed before she gets released again, or that they just keep her. On the back side of this row, we have more peppers that are settling in. They've started growing and taking off. And then this last row looks like it's all squash. I actually pruned back these squash plants 3 or 4 days ago, and they've already taken over again, so I'm gonna have to get after them again. There are edamame plants down in, there's a squash vine borer. These edamame plants, oh, there's baby edamame. They've started to produce. So they're doing well. Oh, all of these have beans on them. That's good. We have little baby edamames. That's my first round. We planted 12 plants 1 week apart. So we planted 12, waited a week, planted 12, waited a week, planted 12, so that we'll have batches of edamame we'll be able to harvest. There are a few beets in there that I need to pull today. And then on the other side are green beans, and those are starting to actually produce beans. I think you can see on that one, it's got some beans that need to be picked. I don't think there is a meal's worth of beans anywhere yet, but we're getting there really quick. I'll have to see how many I get today. And then over here on the hugelkultur, we planted loofahs, and those have settled in and put on some new growth since they went in the ground. There are just 6 plants in there. The soil is not great, so I'm hoping having them really spaced out will help them actually grow. I've never been successful with loofahs in the past, but I am hopeful we will make it work this year. And last but not least, we have our corn patch. So our corn patch over here is doing really well. I need to do a little bit of weeding, but there are lots of corn stalks coming up. Some of our weed barrier needs to be trimmed a little bit around the corn stalks because as it sits in the sun, it shrinks up a little bit. And so those original holes that we made kind of shift and move as the weed barrier pulls. So we need to cut back anywhere that it's too close to the corn stalk. The pumpkins that we put around the edge are doing really well. They have settled in, started growing, and started putting runners out that we will trail into and in between the corn. And then I have a few squash plants in here that are doing okay, but not actively growing yet, but I'm sure they will get there. And you can't see from here, but on the far side, there are more beans, and those are doing pretty good too, but I need to get over there and thin them. I planted more than I needed just to make sure that they all came up. So that is going to be on my agenda today too. So that's a quick little update of how the garden is growing. The fruit trees are also doing well. Everything that had set fruit has 1 or 2 fruits growing on it, which is great for young trees. That's all we want them to be growing. And now it's time to get started on all the tasks I need to get done today. There's a long list and it's already feeling like it's in the low 80s out here. So I need to get moving on that before it gets too hot to work out here. right, I pulled up all of our carrots that were still in the garden because it's just getting too hot for them. They're not gonna grow really well, so we wanted to get these out and put purple whole peas, which love the heat, in their place. So even if they weren't ready, like these little tiny ones, I still went ahead and pulled them because they're not gonna grow really well in this weather anyway. But I wanted to show you a couple of things. So first of all, if I can find one. First of all, these purple carrots, hopefully you can see that. So these are, I'm drawing a blank, I think the Pusa Sita carrots from Baker Creek. So it's a purple carrot that's supposed to be purple through and through. These did not grow well for us at all. I don't know why. I'm guessing something about our weather or our soil, but I'm not sure if you can see on here all of these extra little roots off the side. It's like they didn't make that center carrot root, that big taproot that is what we're trying to eat. And so we had all of these little lateral roots. And then the carrots are really woody inside. They're just very starchy, not sweet at all. They're not a carrot. And all of them were like that. So I don't know why they didn't work for us, but if you're in a warmer zone, we're in Central Texas, maybe not the best choice. Again, maybe it was our soil, but if it was the weather, these didn't go well for us at all. I thought they were gonna be really cool, but that's how things go sometimes. Most of the carrots that we grew were Scarlet Nantes, I think they're called. So a little short, fat carrot. That works really well for us because we are still working on improving this soil. So if we try to grow a really long carrot, they end up hitting rocks and roots and splitting, and you don't get a carrot. If we grow these short, fat carrots, we still get a good amount of carrot, but they don't hit anything, so they don't split. And one last thing I wanted to point out. If you miss thinning your carrots, so if you go out and you're trying to thin all of your carrots and you miss a few and you think that a bunch like this is one carrot and you don't thin it, what you end up with, hopefully you can see that, is a bunch of little teeny tiny not carrots. They just won't grow. I have learned that you have to thin the carrots early. You can't wait for them to get very big. Like this was already too big. They shouldn't be big like this when you thin them. They should be really tiny, just a couple of leaves sticking up. And that's when you want to get them down to one carrot. If you don't, they stay bunched up like this. And there's just too much competition and they just really don't grow well. So try not to miss any spots when you're thinning your carrots and you'll get better carrots. But now I have to cut the tops off of all of these so I can take them inside. Our guinea pigs love carrot tops, but they can't have too many. They have to be limited in how much they get. I think it's calcium that there's too much of. So they can have a little bit, but it's kind of like candy. It's a treat for them. So we just give them one long carrot leaf stalk each. And then we give some to the chickens, but not all of them. So I'm gonna cut most of these off into the compost pile. I'll take some inside and throw some to the chickens. Hello, ladies. You have to stay in there. Get back. The hawks will eat you if you come out here.